Hey everyone, welcome back to Someone's PC. We haven't done some Digimon content in quite some time. However, BT8 just dropped, and starter decks are now legal after the mishap that we had in Canada, and we had to play in regionals without it. So this meta is wild, diverse, and I don't think I'm that good at it. So with me today is, as always, Tyler and Cam. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
And we're just gonna give you a little bit of input before we travel to Origins for the weekend and playing in two of the regionals that they're gonna have there. Obviously, on screen we have probably the most whack and annoying deck of the format, which is Yellow Rapids, and luckily Cam converted over from a yellow player to playing decks that can actually win tournaments instead of tying and getting knocked out of the entire regional. So I guess we'll start with you, Cam. Why aren't you playing Rapid Hybrid, and do you think it's like the deck to beat, like everyone is kind of treating it as such?
It's definitely one of the top decks to be afraid of, but I think that yellow hybrid mirrors are fucking ass.
Yo.
And tying is a problem. You can't win in Bandai tournament format rules with ties, and I do think there's like some counterplay to like some rogue decks that specifically target yellow hybrid, um, which is why I'm not playing it. But I do think it's strong, and the list on screen is pretty standard. I think straightforward.
Yeah.
I do like the Rise Grays for extra fives, just because relying on Jet Sylphie can suck sometimes. Tactical Retreat is nice, but other than that, it seems pretty straightforward in what's kind of been going around.
Yeah, I've actually like started liking Dynasmon over Arfanimon a lot more after the inclusion of like what Imperial's been doing. Just, sending it, swinging at you. Hopefully you don't hit your line, but going into a Dynast and having it getting value over future turns instead of using Arfani, because I was thinking that Arfani would get a lot more value because you get your Codys, but the way the matchup just kind of plays, you're either hitting your Rapids or like you're just gonna heal back up, and so it's one or the other. And yeah, I definitely like Dynast too. Tyler, thoughts?
I think
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much like covered it. Deck's really annoying to play against. I don't think it can win tournaments just due to how long people play and how people kind of just play the deck very slow for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, super strong deck and something you definitely have to build your deck around.
Cam, do you have anything else?
I do think that you could like a tech that you could play, just because you're trying to find rapids so much in this format. And your Jet Sylphies, I guess, is the yellow memory boost. You could probably play like two over tactical, or you can find a cut somewhere else here, but that might be a way to boost consistency a bit. But other than that, not much to add.
Yeah, I really like the memory boost instead of tacticals, in my opinion. However, I mean the way Jeffrey here just like built his list, it's just such a grind to try and take this deck out of the out like to close the
Yeah.
game out against this list. This one in particular, Dynasts, tactical retreats. So pretty
Yep.
absurd. Okay, moving on to the next deck, which ended up winning the entire regionals, which is Mastamon. Tyler, you've been the one in the group I've pretty much gone to for any kind of Mastamon advice. So, what did you think of the list, and what do you think about like the deck overall?
I like the list. I think it's definitely like super solid, like opting for more avenues to get to your Masty, like capping out on your Masty and playing the 6K Liddy Devi and 4 Health Slice, basically. Saying if you ever check a house without security, if there's a Gato and a raising, which there should be, if you're playing around the deck, even like when he interviewed and talked about the deck, I mean, having a Gato and raising is a lot of pressure. So if they just unfortunately hit a Scythe, then you're just always like pressuring with a Maximon in the following turn. And I like the addition of the 3 memory boost as well. To help you get consistent searching through the early game to try to find pieces that you're missing because the deck does brick a lot. But other than that, the list overall is pretty standard for as far as like what you're looking for. You need to have degrades for uh, X antibody and other big stuff, and overall, I think the deck's really strong if it hits lucky security.
Yeah. I personally love this deck with Cody inside of it, and I guess from how you've been testing and what's happened in our testing games, we'd pretty much always be replacing Cody with a memory boost. If we like tested the exact copy of Ying's list, and I just think it's so weird not seeing Cody inside of it. But I guess after playing enough games with Memory Boost, it might provide a better value. I honestly don't think the Creepymon and the Chimeramon super necessary. However, I can't see myself playing the deck anyway. I just think Creepymon's. I can't think of a turn I would want to go into it, or I would rather just like have another copy of a different card in the deck.
Creepymon just has like good surprise factor. Like if you catch someone off guard, you can just like absolutely just like close out a game with Creepymon, just hitting them when they aren't really expecting it. Being able to like Evo into a Creepymon, like bring back Lucamon, pop a card, and then keep it on your turn, and then either do something with the Lucamon, like into like maybe like a potential like joggers play that turn if you have just extra memory from your boost or whatever. But yeah, I don't think the Creepymon's super necessary. I definitely like right now I'm playing the Codys with the memory boost, like being able to keep them both in the same deck, and it always feels like I have plenty of memory to make like very explosive turns. So I like being able to fit in both. I think Maximon decks should look more into playing some form of Cody in their deck.
Yeah. Cam, thoughts?
Not really much to add. I think it's pretty strong. It feels like some weird mixture of like the old security control and Lilith loop. It's strong if you can get past the first couple turns, and I think there might not be many decks that can beat it in the late game if it can get through those first 3 or 4 turns to set up.
Yeah, I've actually found the most success against it in our testing by just grinding it out of resources and kind of going for a deck out against it a lot of times. Tyler ended up playing a Mastamon in most of his lists like at the end of testing, and so I never got a huge closeout because of that card alone. But if everyone's just going to copy and paste Ying's list, then that might be a more viable route. And that was the Mastamon that trashes top security, grab back something. You'd always grab back the Russian Black Gato, and that would like ruin my chances of like going for a deck out. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think I really hate that this deck's in the format. I think it's super strong and it's kind of Luxacky on security, but my mind's changed after this regional in terms of how to look at this format. So, yeah, playing Masty, good list to start off of. I mean, he also includes like little one-ups you can change around too, the Creepymon, the Chimera and stuff. So it's a super solid list. I'm not surprised he won with it at all. Moving on to Imperial, the Exodia deck of the format, and man, this deck is so frustrating to play against, especially whenever they like have like a Davis out and an XV and raising. You just know you're losing like 3 to 4 security next turn, unless you kind of luck out of security there. So Cam, what are your thoughts on Imperial and its current placement in the format, and in particular, Dan Vang's Nidhogg inclusion? Because I think that's the only thing special we really see when we're looking at the list.
I think it's probably going to be the most popular format deck of the format by far. It's similar to Mew VMAX in Pokemon. It just kind of goes, and if it hits the pieces, there's not really a ton you can do. But I don't think it's the most consistent deck either. So I do think there is potential to kind of beat it.
When it stumbles, it falls on its face.
Yeah,
like it's just not it. But when it goes, it's unstoppable.
Yeah, and I'm sure Nidhogg like caught some people off. Like you're not expecting like a board clear, so that might get you back in the game if your opponent is ever like if you do stumble and your opponent is able to kind of pull ahead and you just wipe their board. So that might be kind of like a nice defensive play. And I think the biggest question people are pondering is whether or not to play Megadeth. I think most people are, but I've had a couple of people who say they don't really see it being as good as more consistency.
Yeah. Tyler, thoughts?
You guys pretty much have it covered. I mean, if the deck hits, it's very, very strong. It's not a lot of decks can really do other than pray for their security. I do like the inclusion of the Nidhogg. After doing like a big like Joggers Pale or Dyna B play, and then just Nidhogging the board and then just being able to kind of control it out from there. Yeah, deck's super strong, and I definitely expect to see it a lot more with the coming tournaments.
I will note this is like the start of what I think a lot more lists that topped or had success in like top 32 is the one of inclusion of a memory boost. Just like random one boosts have been popping up in a lot of lists that are finishing fairly well. and I fail to understand the logic behind it, but maybe I'm just like I need to play around with it a lot more, because I don't really have a lot of decks with boost inside of it. Because it's like, why wouldn't I just play a Hammer Spark on the third Mega Death over the boost there? But you might be just thinking like you kind of need that one card of extra consistency. Like I don't care the math or percentage on it. I kind of just want that one, and it can pop it later on to go for lethal. So yeah, it's weird, and I think the next deck, which is Black War Greymon, that we're gonna get into, has the same inclusion, the one of Red Memory Boost that what's his name played. I think they call him Lychee. Lychee is his name.
Lychee, yeah. James Hernandez Lychee.
Yeah. I just watched his interview, and I am building this list right now, and the more I just like theorize it, the more I like the concept of playing this deck this week. So, Tyler, how did you like testing out our list that we were trying, like the yellow Sylphie, and then kind of like how do you feel about Black War Gray after the little the little 1 hour session we have of playing with a Black War Greymon deck?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think our list. I mean, there's just so many consistency issues for sure. Just trying to like mix different dual colors like that.
Yeah.
Playing against Black War Gray, like the earlier versions of the deck compared to how it is now, I definitely like that this deck, among a few of the other like decks, but this deck more than like some of the other like earlier decks we talked about. Like this deck has been adapting. I feel like more and more over the format is getting pushed by better players that are giving it the time of day. Just like the inclusions of the Geo Gray for XVmon counters, and being able to do like including like the Blitz War Greymon and the hero and cards like that, like even like the Metal Gray level 5 for piercing. Like there's just a lot of like little inclusions there that are just obviously due to many games of testing and being like, all right, this is just good and against like the overall meta. So I definitely like where this deck is going. I think it's got like a lot more room to grow in the rest of the format.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, check out a few of Leech's interviews on YouTube. He has like his own written down matchup, like tips and tricks for the interview, and it's like 10 to 20 minutes long of him just going over each matchup in particular. Most of them I had already thought of, like how to play a matchup into, but man, he goes into some detail that's like rather advanced, and it really just shows like his both experience with the deck and like what he can push out of this list. I know the Black War Greymon lists I've played against have always like capped out on that Black Agu, and they've also included like Cyclonemon and like other things, and you could tell just from his confidence on like how he's describing the list. He's like, yeah, you don't need all that, and like you're forced to play this like black blocker Greymon. All you kind of want is consistency over like the course of a big tournament, and then various tech cards like the EX Metal Gray and then the EX Greymon, like the value you got out of them from playing those two was pretty wild. So more than likely I'm going to end up playing this deck for Origins. I am just swapping around the Ultimate Flare and Memory Boost for different tech cards that I'm going to be testing out. Cam, how have you been faring against Black or Gray, and do you think like this is something that you'd be worried about going into the tournament?
Yeah, I think it's a very good anti-meta deck. Just kind of does a lot against what some of the other best decks are trying to do. I've beaten all the Black War Grays that I've played against, but I think I'm not saying I'm played against I didn't play against James Hernandez, so I don't think I played against the strongest people.
Sure.
But I also think that if you have the right deck to counter it, there might be, like, I play blue hybrids, and I think if you just time your tamers placements correctly, like you can potentially play around it. But
it sounds like a 50-50, honestly. Like I don't think that matchup goes one way or another, especially on how they like make their stack and how they utilize the chimeras against your Tommies, right? Like I think that's like what it'll come down to, which in my opinion sounds like a fun interactive kind of game.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. The good list. I can't wait to play it. X Antibody, and this deck has kind of like not performed up to expectations of everyone's hype. In regional so far, the foreign ones as well as the one we just had for Top Cut, but it just won Mario's Gaming World, and the craziest thing is playing no Breath of the God inside the deck, which is how I felt it was its only way of beating Mastamon, or Imperial, just not getting hit by a Mega Death, but he made it work, and he was able to find success with it. So Cam, I know you're on Antibody for a little bit, and now you switched off. How are you feeling about Antibody right now?
It's like a more diverse Jesmon, in my opinion. It has a lot of cool abilities. I think the lack of mulligans is what hurts this deck a lot more than other decks. And so I think that's why it might do well at kind of these smaller, less round tournaments than a regional. Because if like the fast decks run hot, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, I don't feel like. Especially if you like miss a piece or something. Because this deck is so piece reliant, but it definitely feels like if you can get to that stage of the game, like later stage of the game, I know he's not playing this list wasn't playing Breath of the God, but if you do play it, like there's not much that can counter your OTK from happening.
Yeah.
So I think it has a really high ceiling. It's just the consistency issues, and I think the rise of Black War Gray really scares me because the deck is really UG dependent, and so that's kind of why I moved away from it altogether, because I was just testing against Black War Gray and they kept popping my UGs, and then I couldn't do shit.
Yeah, you go next. Yeah. I'm noticing his list playing the two of the Doru Gorus, right? Mm-hmm. The 6, and then you and me have had talks in chat where you're like, I'm not down for that. I just want an alpha and like go for the OTK. Like him finding success with Doru Gorus. Would you expect other Antibody lists to now include the 1 or 2, or do you think like this winning list is kind of going under the radar right now for the general community than the ones that are like online playing in tournaments and participating in Mario's gaming world, right?
I think I'm actually in. I think a lot of people like the Dorogoro when I've kind of seen people talking about it. Mm-hmm. I prefer for Oryu and Triple Alpha, and just kind of going, because I feel like Oryu does a decent amount of what Dorogoro does, and then I'm just trying to, like the consistency issues, I'm just trying to get to that combo, because I feel like that's what wins you the game, whether you kind of play defensive in the beginning or not. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to find those pieces, but I definitely see, like,
it's
once that Dorogoro gets set up, it's pretty strong.
Yeah,
in terms of what it can remove from the board.
Yeah, it's snowbally too, and that's why I'm surprised he's not playing the Breath alongside of it. Like its inclusion and like what it does over the course of the game. It's like, don't you need Breath to kind of protect it for like for like what's going on the following turn? But yeah, weird list. Congrats to him though. Did super well. He even had a 5th baby, which I haven't seen a single other person do. So that was kind of surprising when I saw it too. Like, it's a cool looking like little missile thing. So it's like nice to look at. Tyler, thoughts on Antibody?
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much have it covered. I mean, the deck, I also agree. I feel like it got hurt with lack of mulligans, even though the deck, obviously has a bunch of searchers. Obviously, if you just whiff those searchers whenever you do play them, and we've seen with Boko last format, your searchers aren't always super reliable, especially these top 3 searchers, and stuff like Black War Gray and Massey just popping tamers. If you just get your UG popped, it's just kind of like feels like a go next. Like, it feels very hard at times, especially without Breath of the Gods, or even with Breath of the Gods. If you just get hit with like a Dagger Gate or something to remove your 6 stack, the game pretty much feels over at that point. So, yeah, I do hope that someone can try to push this deck a little bit more, but I think a lot less people are going to be on it if they want to play like, oh, I want to play a fast OTK deck. I'm just going to play some sort of Black War Gray, or I'm just going to play Imperial. So
yeah. Okay.
I think the biggest thing that hurts is, like you said, the top 3 searchers. It sucks when you play like one and then you find the other tamer, like
mm-hmm. Yes.
I think that was the worst feeling about it.
You mean like how I felt with Beetle and Boko?
Yeah.
I played Beetle and hit like Ancient Beetle and Mimi's, and then I played Boko and hit like nothing, and I'm like, JP, where are you?
Yeah, it's even worse because it's less top draw, but it's the exact same feeling.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay, moving on to the next deck is the Old Hotness Come Anew, which is Three Musketeers, but now it's heavy leaning into blue. 4 Kakaida's Breath. It's got a random TK in it with a bucket hat, and yeah, like this deck's wild. The fact that it's making a comeback, and I don't respect it whatsoever. However, like I get it. Because it does what everyone needs to do in this format to survive against Imperial, which is luck sack out of your security, and you're not really luck sacking when you're playing like that many options, right? Like,
yeah,
my God, that's a lot of like different answers. So, Tyler, thoughts on 3 Musk? I noticed that this list didn't include Creepymon, and Creepymon is kind of the out to Mastymon by just decking them off of the swings. So, like, are you going to keep playing 3 Musketeers at any point, or you just think you're kind of like set on Masty and finding ways around it for this format?
Yeah, for this format, most of all, or for the most part, I'm pretty much just committed to Massey. I mean, I do have Beelstar sleeved up, and it is probably like I have played a lot of games of Beelstar this format, and it's probably just a very like close behind plays I have for Massey so far. I do feel like this deck is a little bit more luck reliant. I mean, I'm also doing a similar style like blue package. Any blue memory tamer, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get any of the effects anyway, just so you have a memory tamer consistently on board, and also being able to have ways to play Kakaitis. I do like the Ice Wall inclusion as well. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's just trying to do the same thing that some of the other decks are trying to abuse this format. It's just really strong security to deal with all the jamming from Imperial.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think this deck is it's not going to be something that we're going to see a whole lot of. I think you're only going to see people that are pretty much committed to purple or Beelstar playing it, so it's not going to be super like relevant. But I do think the players that do play it are, you know, going to be able to push the deck pretty far and be able to get placed decently well within tournaments. I also, and the same note, I do think this deck has an issue with consistency. There are plenty of times where you just open like fucking like Zord defeat 4 options and it's just actually a go next. Like you just can't do anything for like 4 turns back to back, and you just get blown out because they're just swinging like rookies out of your security, and it's just fucking over. But
it suffers heavily from no mulligans, right?
Yes, huge.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's just not going to be like super great. Like maybe locally, if you have someone that's the locals that just likes playing the deck, you might just get sauced up by them. But in like a 9-round event, I don't see it like getting in like consistently getting to like top 16, top 8. Maybe one at a time. But.
Can you envision other people playing Avenged Kidmon outside of what Leechy just did inside of his Black War Gray deck, or like do you think no one's gonna include that? They're not about that life. It's just like if you're set on playing 3 Musk, that's probably not something to fear at all. Are you there?
No. Well, I'll answer the question if he's not there.
Okay.
I think I think the only thing that's playing Avenged Kidmon is maybe like Tessero in his Creepymon list. I don't think many other people are gonna tech for it, because you need to find it, have the one of, and in Tessero's list he has a way to get it back if it ever hits the trash. Yeah. And so I don't think there's many decks that have that ability to do it. So I wouldn't be too worried about Avenged Kid, especially with no sides.
My bad. I thought you said Cam whenever you asked the question.
Yeah, totally fine.
But yeah, also, no, I would not worry about Avenged Kid. If someone plays Avenged Kid on me, I'm just looking at them like, all right, you're really afraid of this fucking deck, bro.
You got it.
You got it.
All right. Okay, next up is Cam's new love, I feel like. Even though he didn't play it all much last format, Blue Hybrid.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this list in particular, as opposed to the ones you've been trying out with Ancient? And I think you played with the Bond a little bit. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. I don't know if it was the Koji one, but yeah, like, how you feeling about it?
About this list, I like the inclusion of Innocence Blizzard. I think that's a pretty cool card to come out of the set. It's a nice security check, but I mean, for Baby Matt, that seems like a lot. I know it's a good card, but I'd rather have rookies. Running 8 blue rookies seems like a potential mistake.
You get TK, bro. You swing on your blue, you can draw a card.
But I think that's just because my list is different from all the lists that I played are kind of different from this one, but I do think blue hybrid overall. I really like playing it this format because it doesn't feel like the matchup spread feels like you have a 50-50 or better against a good, if not all of the format.
Yeah.
So
And it doesn't
you
feel
don't
like floodgatey, and all you're trying to do is like stun the entire format into doing nothing. You feel like you're like going back and forth with like swings. Like like this list didn't play like Siako or Madoki's, and your lists have been including them. So like, do you feel he's missing out on not playing those, or like he's going for a completely different game plan than what you're trying to do with your ancients? So you're like, he
think
leaned into it with the four mats, right? So
Yeah, I think it just might be his variant, but I think it might be a mistake not to play Madoki or Siako this format.
mhm.
I think Siako is still good against yellow hybrid. If blue hybrid continues to kind of do well, then maybe you play some mirrors. I think it's good against there. Um, when I played it this past weekend in two tournaments, like it came up where it was kind of annoying for my opponent because they weren't playing it. They were playing like the Strabi lines, and they were like, "Oh shit, I pass over turn by evoing this Beowulf." So that hurt a lot. It's kind of nice against Mastiamon if they don't get like the Tamer up early. So that then their Gato Evo is still 3
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
1.
So they pass over and can't jogger send phase you. Yeah.
Yeah, so that came up in Massey against Massey a couple times.
Mhm.
So and then Madoki is always pretty good against like other blue decks or um I think even purple right now if you're playing like some Cerberus package in like a creepy mon or just whatever, like just the memory gain is blockage is nice. But I really like ancient just because it kind of gives that extra burst potential against certain decks like Black War Gray if they like pop your tamers, and so you still have like a way to like potentially swing over them because their Black War Gray is 12k, and just that extra burst is pretty nice to close out games in either Ancient or Bond. I just think Ancient's more flexible in the early game, but Bond is still pretty strong in the late game in terms of bouncing back, clearing the board and stuff, and checks.
Okay. Tyler, anything to add?
No, I think you definitely went into plenty of detail there with the blue hybrid. I haven't really seen too much of it, but I imagine it's kind of similar game plan of how it was last format for the most
Mhm.
part.
Yeah, no one in our area is playing this at all, which is funny. Well, everyone's on new decks or joggers. We're trying to change it up.
I still think it's good though. I still think it's good overall, and it's something that you definitely need to like still keep like in your mind of like how to play around this deck whenever
Agreed.
you're in
I put
tournaments.
it at the bottom of
Yeah.
tier one or top of tier two in my brain, where like
Yeah,
it can win a tournament. It is that like, in my
correct, for
opinion,
sure.
balanced deck in the format. Like
Mhm.
there's no joggers. It's not really cheating the game in one particular way. It's just a solid like consistent deck that can get you there.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the next hybrid deck that I don't think is a balanced deck and really 50-50 everything is red hybrid, and I mean after Chungman's had a success at the end of the BT7 format, playing red hybrid, I'm not surprised to see this once again at the top tables. After playing this deck for 4 hours, I feel like it's just as high roll as Imperial, and all you're doing is swapping out blue cards for red cards, and man, when this deck draws well, nothing touches it, like at all. And then when it's not, you just lose the game. So it's like if you don't hit your perfect line, then you're kind of just out of there. I guess I'll start with back to Tyler here. Sadly, I know you lost to Chungman at the last round of was it one of the regionals or one of the Ultimate Cups?
It was a
You
top
played?
cut. It was
Okay.
round 7.
Nice. Okay, so like thoughts on red hybrid, and I mean, is there any much to say other than hey, it just got Crimson Wave added to the deck and they just moved they moved on.
Yeah, I mean, much like the actual like plays around the deck, I really don't have too much thought on it. I mean, it's just pretty much just trying to hit your pieces, trying to go into your big stack. I definitely think it's a solid game plan against Yellow Hybrid. Obviously, there's that clip that went around of the dude doing like what, like 9, 10 checks into Blitz Omni and just Ancient Gray, no options, just watching him flip. Yeah, Tamer, Digi Tamer, Tamer, option, Tamer. All right, Blitz game. Like, it's a very straightforward game plan, and there's a lot of consistency here to help you hit your pieces that you need to execute that game plan as often as possible with the Bokos and memory boost. I do like the addition of extra ties there to help get you the extra security checks.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, deck is strong when it hits, and there's not much else to it.
Yeah, he's on the one Alterius mode instead of four, which I think Chongman was playing, because
Mhm.
he's just trying to make that big stack and then go enough for lethal with the Ancient Gray. But yeah, Cam, anything to add, man?
It's just gonna put, you'll have a couple highlight moments when you pull off some sick plays, some sick
Yeah.
OTK plays, but unless you're drawing sick like the entire tournament, you're probably, there might be one who makes top cut, but I'm not really afraid of this deck. I'm not too worried about it just due to popularity and like
Yeah.
I just don't really feel like it's in my control whether or not I win or not.
Oh, I'm terrified. This deck's gonna find me. I already know.
It's fate.
It always does.
Okay. Moving on. We have two decks left. One of them being Armor Rush. The Eggman's 12th place list. Honestly, nothing too out of the ordinary. First looking at this, I like the inclusion of the armor texture. I guess it's just for those critical moments when you really need to go for lethal, or if you're in a turn where you absolutely need to go like Lydramon, turn something, swing, and then texture into a Magna, restand off Kenan Davis, and then keep going. On the off chances you survive some, like security mishaps, maybe hit a Tamer, maybe hit an option that didn't really help you out, you hit like a boost or something. But yeah, the typical Shaku armors list. I think this deck's just really consistent, and the fact that it's not playing the I forgot the red option that says sec +1 if it's armor, or something along the lines, like flame something. I like that it's not playing that. I'm trying to go for like this like weird rushy moments, and especially in a format with which we've been talking about the whole time, crazy stuff coming out of security, Mastamon, Imperial, Three Musketeers and stuff. I really not trying to go like sec +1 and get there with my like 5k 8k person swinging. So Cam, have you been liking armors, and do you think that's a good matchup for blue hybrid? Because I know that's pretty much the most experience you've had now over the past 2 weeks.
I like this as my friend has been playing this a lot, so I've gotten a lot of testing against Shaku armors. I think it's like you said, very aggressive. It's pretty consistent, and I think it's just pretty balanced in terms of also having some cute kind of like ulti mega plays as well. My group doesn't really like armor texture at all. They're not playing it. They don't really think it's that great of a card. So I don't think that's worth playing. So I think you even have like two more spots to kind of fiddle around with in terms of what you want to add. I think my
HPD.
friend is I think my friend's probably playing like 2 mega deaths or something.
Okay.
In the spot in replace of those, but I think if I wasn't like if I didn't like blue hybrid so much, I would be playing this deck just due to the consistency of it. You can play a couple more rookies than Imperial, and kind of just not be so reliant on like just kind of trying to hit one line of play. You have a couple different avenues.
Yeah. I can't see myself playing this into a format with Yellow Rapids, man. That's what makes it so
Oh
weird.
yeah, that's the bad matchup.
Like
Yeah,
just
that's the
accepting that
one.
and just being like, oh, if I see the one, I guess I'm just gonna go X1 right now, like no matter what.
That's the one caveat of the deck. Like I think he said like everything else feels good. It's just yellow hybrids where you're like, well, time to pack it up.
Yeah. Super go next. Tyler, thoughts on armors?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. You guys already hit the points there. I do like the consistency of the deck and what the deck can do, and that it has a lot of different like kind of ways to play about a game. I mean, it feels like more of like a very solid toolbox deck,
Mm-hmm.
which I like about it. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it has such a tough time against yellow hybrids. But yeah, no, I like it.
Okay. Finishing out the final deck to discuss. for the current meta is Lord Nightmon, which finished 10th place by Abad Flores. And Tyler, when we tested, did you play an exact copy of this list just to see how it ran, or did you make some tweaks?
A little bit of tweaks. I'd say it's like it was within 5 cards.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I really like the idea of Lord Knight. Unfortunately, it does have a little bit of consistency issues as well, with being able to consistently get up to your Lord Nightmon. Like if it just happens like your sixes are in security and you just are missing your TK and you're just kind of sitting there like without your sixes, obviously this deck isn't doing too much other than kind of like playing out your rookies and trying to find your sixes. I think this deck could benefit maybe from an additional memory boost or something, but I do like the playmaking that can make with Electric Rush, blinding right into Electric Rush with like an Angelomon, Lord Knight. There's a lot of avenues for play, and then had big defense against the aggressive decks of the format with Dynasmon. So
Yeah.
I do like it, and I hope that people continue to kind of like try to nudge this deck into the format.
Yeah. That Pulsemon was absolutely correct to play against. The
Yes.
rookie one that says if you're at 3, gain 2 memory when you swing. That was absurd, and it was probably like the most intimidating thing to play against. Having been on the opposite side of this and playing Mastamon, this felt like the freest matchup in the world, and I felt like as long as I drew a line, I was never in any danger of losing, which is a crazy feeling to have with such like a strong deck against like a 4-mon board. When you're like board spamming, and I was like, it's Mastamon, we'll find a way out of it. Just like healing twice and popping everything out there. So
The problem in that matchup too is like Mastamon has like actually like one of the scariest security in the game. Where on the flip side, this deck has actually laughable security checks. So
like unless I'm hitting a Chaosmon, I'm like,
yeah, blinding ring. You're like, good luck winning this game, man.
Lord Nightmon's 11, super weak, super weak. Yeah. Cam, any thoughts on Lord Knight? Have you even played against this?
I've played against it a bit. It can definitely make some sick plays out of nowhere where you're just like, oh, well, damn, I didn't think you were gonna do that to my board and like clear it with the Nightmons and drop all these LKs and all this crap. So I think it can definitely make some sick plays. It's like maybe a slightly more consistent like red hybrid where they're just trying to. I mean, obviously they're doing slightly different things because they're like wiping your board and stuff, but I do think I might play this. I might put some time into this because this looks cool, and I think I like what was it, like 17 rookies or something ridiculous that this guy was running. 17 rookie, well 18, but this is one
sure
doesn't really count as one. But I like that, which more than anything, that sounds really good in a format with no mulligans. Like the consistency of actually hitting a rookie, seems nice.
Imagine playing that many and not opening one. I mean, like,
we had the same rookie count. I've been there. I was like, how?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Okay, so moving into Origins, which is going to happen in 2 days. What is the deck you're currently working on, and then the deck you're like, you won't take a, I wouldn't say bad matchup to this, but you won't take less than a 50-50, which is maybe spiking your security. We'll start with Cam.
I'm playing Blue Hybrids. I think I'm just going to play it. It's just the highest chance I'm going to play at the 2 regionals. I think Imperial is the deck that I would tech against, just because I'd like an Innocence Blizzard or like slightly more security checks potentially, because that has been my way of kind of messing them up, is just like them flipping over Sora or Tommy, and then I'm like, okay, I'm in this thing. I'm actually gonna beat them now, like pretty badly, because they just swung into a Tommy, or they passed turn when they weren't expecting it because of a Hammer Spark / Ice Wall. So I'm just most worried about that deck because I think it's also gonna be the most popular because it's so easy to play.
Yeah. I think punishing the XVmon swing is like the most I want to do out of my list when I envision playing against it. I want them to be like, oh, you swung and you hit a Hammer Spark and it just took away the Stingmon play. And like, that's like combo against me. And I'm just like, well, that's what you get for getting greedy and trying to go +1 with XVmon. So, yeah, okay.
That's exactly what happened. And then they like went to 1 memory and then they just looked at me. I'm like, yeah, your board's getting wiped next turn and you're going to have to reset again, bro. Like,
yeah. They're like, that's not fair. I got jamming. Okay, nice. Tyler, what are you playing, and like what are you trying to attack against?
Play Massimon. Just overall trying to tech against Imperial and against Yellow Hybrid for the most part. Just being able to have ways to basically have a leg up in both those matchups, having very good security options to deal with the XP Mon or dealing with the Paildra Mon whenever it starts swinging, to be able to answer that and provide pressure in the following turn and being able to deal with Yellow Hybrid's aggressive, insane amount of recovery. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like a good game plan. And for me, I'm going to be more than likely playing Black or Greymon. And the other idea I'm trying out would be a green deck with some kind of bond including inside of it. I played green this weekend, and I mean, yeah, we talked about it a few times already, but I can't play a deck without playing some kind of like 5+ security check options that are defensive in some fashion, because I'm just honestly getting sick of me swinging into them with like tons of fear, and then them swinging into me, knowing that nothing's ever going to happen besides them getting like maybe suspended, right, or like now. So either Megadeth or some kind of security option has to be included in the current format. It feels very weird that I have to like think like that, like as an old Setcon player. I'm now like, all right, well, I can't fully commit to like a Setcon deck because I'll just never, finish the tournament or finish every round after 15 minutes. But now I'm like, all right, I have to do like some mid range in between while having like a super cool combo on the side, either healing me or going super aggressive. But yeah.
Yep.
All right, closing thoughts. I mean, like, good luck to everyone playing at Origins. If you're just watching this, still like keep up with PC. We love you. We appreciate the viewership and the support. And if you see us at Origins, feel free to say hi and chill with us for a bit. Any other closing thoughts?
Play Memory Boost. I actually really like Memory Boost because this format feels like a very combo-centric format where everyone's just trying to build up some like super powerful thing and they just need like maybe one or two pieces to hit it. So actually Memory Boost does seem sick as like a nice, and because no one's playing Madoki, or like most decks aren't playing some version of Madoki.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that might be a way in this no mulligan format to get around that consistency issue.
Cool. All right, everyone.
Agreed.
No, go ahead, Tyler.
No, you're good. Great. Memory boosters crack, play consistency cards, play around consistency, and yeah, no mulligans fucking sucks.
Yeah, please bring it back. Please.
Please.
This is so whack. All right, everyone. Have a great day.